but that was part of the trap. There's concrete evidence that proves it.
The burn room on Nagito's arm was a trap. Der right sleeve.
I see!
Das war nämlich nicht abgebrannt. Oder überhaupt nicht.
Take a close look at his right sleeve. Even though the rope was burnt up, his sleeve wasn't burned at all. Wouldn't you agree? A burn like this, no matter how you think about it, is unnatural. That rope was burned in advance so it would look like it was burned in the fire.
Then Nagito's right arm wasn't tied up, right? He was able to move it freely, right?
Yeah, that should be the case.
Hajime, that's awesome! I'll let you cop a feel if you want.
Akane, you should not give it away for free. Make sure they pay you first.
That's definitely wrong.
Fine. I just gotta get a Benjamin from him before I let him touch me, right?
That's not what I meant. I'm talking about Nagito. I mean, even if his right hand wasn't tied up, the knife was still stabbed into it, you know?
It's impossible to stab a knife into your right hand with your right hand. Ah, that much is obvious.
Hajime, you tricked me! Give me back that Benjamin!
Not only did she try to charge me, now she wants the money back. What the heck?
Hold on. There should be a way.
Then hurry up and spill it!
If it's something lame, I'll make you give back the Benjamin with 10,000% interest.
Why to stab yourself on your right hand? Only your right hand. Okay, there's definitely an answer for this. Oh yeah. Ich hab keine Ahnung.
Even if Nagito's right hand was free, how could he stab his right hand with his right hand?
If he threw the knife into the air and let the knife fall, could he stab his hand that way?
Is he a throwing knife expert?
Maybe he propped the knife somehow and slammed his right hand down on it?
Propped it onto what?
If he just propped the knife, he could have used his bound left hand.
If you're tied up, your arms won't bend that easily. We don't know if his left hand could even reach his right hand.
Ich glaube irgendwie, das von Anfang aus von Sanya ist eigentlich gut. Wo sie gesagt hat, dass man es nach oben wirft, weil da ist ja Blut oben gewesen. Ich weiß nicht, ob es stimmt. Oder hat es vielleicht was mit dem Monokuma? Haben wir... Warte mal, was waren nochmal die ganzen Beweise?
Even if Nagito's right hand was free,
Hat es hiermit was zu tun?
how could he stab his right hand with his right hand?
If he threw the knife into the air and let the knife fall, could he stab his hand that way?
Is he a throwing knife expert?
Maybe he propped the knife somehow and slammed his right hand down on it?
I agree with that.
Warum konnte ich das eine gerade nicht abschließen?
The life-size Monokuma plushie. He must have used that to prop the knife.
Makes sense. That's why there was a big hole in the plushie's stomach.
Daran habe ich gerade auch gedacht. Wo ich gerade gelesen habe, dass da Monokuma Plushie angezeigt wird, dachte ich, okay.
He inserted the knife handle into that hole to prop it up. Then he slammed his hand onto it.
Ja, und deswegen ist auch so viel Blut dran.
If that's it, he had to place the plushie near him. And it also explains the mysterious blood on the plushie.
So the blood on the plushie came from Nagito after he stabbed the knife into his own right hand.
Kranker Typ, ey.
I see. So that's the trick.
But for a moment, I seriously thought Monokuma died or something.
A bleeding plushie is super scary. It's got the same fear factor as a doll whose hair grows too long.
After stabbing his hand, he no longer needed the plushie, so he cast it off toward the fire's origin point.
He probably thought the fire would incinerate it and destroy the evidence.
So what do you think now, Fuyuhiko?
I get what you're saying about the wound on his right hand, but there's still one huge problem.
Was wäre?
The spear. Basically, you're saying Nagito committed suicide by impaling himself with a spear. right?
Das ist eben gerade das. Das ist natürlich das, was irgendwo gegen
If you
spricht.
think about the order, getting killed by the spear should have been the last thing to happen to Nagito.
Aber das Ding ist, guck mal, das Blut. Warte mal. Ich glaube, ich habe die ultimative Antwort darauf gefunden. Der Speer hing an der Decke. Aber guck mal, dieser Blutfleck, also was dieser nicht existierende Blutfleck da hinten am Kabel. Das könnte das Blut sein, was da oben ist, an dem Balken.
If that's true, how is that possible?
Ich glaube, ich habe den Weg
He
gefunden.
can't grab a spear with his right hand if a knife is stabbed into it and his left hand was all tied up.
Then he probably took the spear first, and as he endured the pain, he stabbed the knife into his right hand.
There is a limit to his constitution. If you got penetrated by something so big and thick, you would die instantly.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch all that.
Like I said, if you got penetrated by something so big and thick, you would die instantly.
Say it one more time. I need to record it. For reasons.
Hey, bastard, you better cut it out!
Like she said, in that condition, it's very difficult to stab yourself with a spear. It'd be hard to use a spear with a knife stabbed into your right hand while your left hand is tied up.
So you're saying it's impossible?
But no matter what I think, I can't believe Nagito's death was caused by someone else.
I also agree with that. To think that one of us could kill someone with such cruelty, I could never believe that.
You say you can't believe it? You just don't want to believe it, right? But that's why you keep getting betrayed over and over again, right? Same goes for this time, too.
You just shut your mouth. It's against the rules to interfere with everyone. If you even think about doing anything, I have a plan of my own.
Monome's sassing me.
But it's just as Monokuma said. We've been betrayed over and over again so far. So this might also be the same. Calling this a suicide takes too much for granted, and it's too convenient.
Then are you saying there is a killer among us, Kazuichi?
Of course that doesn't include Miss Sonia and me.
As Kazuichi said, it's true we've been constantly betrayed. But even if I'm betrayed again, I still want to believe in everyone. No matter how many times I may be betrayed, I still want to believe in everyone.
I also want to believe that there's no killer, but suicide is unimaginable.
Do you really think so?
But you said it too. It'd be impossible for him to stab himself with a spear in his condition.
I did say difficult, but I never said impossible. I feel that there's some way he could have stabbed himself with that spear.
What kind of way?
I don't know.
You don't know.
It's impossible to figure out by myself. So let's think about it together. That's how we made it this far up till now.
Everyone, working together.
She's right, we've made it through several ordeals up till now by doing that. And even now...
Alright, let's do this.
Ja, ich glaube immer noch hat das mit der Decke zu tun. Aber wir haben es gar nicht da.
How did Nagito stab himself with a spear? Let's work together and think this through.
When the spear stabbed Nagito, his right hand was covered by the knife, right?
He was only able to move his left hand.
But his left hand was also tied up.
Then that rules out his left hand. If that's the case, the only other way is...
He used his teeth? Or maybe he used his front tail. I know guys have tails that get hard when they're grabbed.
What are you saying?
A blushing Miss Sonia is freaking awesome!
Eigentlich können wir das sein. Ich dachte halt, so geht's halt was mit der Decke zu tun, also mit dem Balken an der Decke, aber irgendwie ist es da gar nicht dabei. Das macht mich jetzt sehr traurig. Ich dachte ehrlich, ich hätte einen Weg, ich hätte das wirklich mal rausgefunden hier. Yes, I did. Was hatten wir denn alles so Dinger? Sometimes the legs were tied up, there's no doubt he is in Nagito's body.
How did Nagito stab himself with a spear? Let's work together and think this through.
When the spear stabbed Nagito, his right hand was covered by the knife, right?
He was only able to move his left hand.
But his left hand was also tied up.
Then that rules out his left hand. If that's the case, the only other way is...
He used his teeth? Or maybe he used his front tail. I know guys have tails that get hard when they're grabbed.
What are you saying?
A blushing Miss Sonia is freaking awesome!
Ich hab eine Vermutung.
How did Nagito stab? Let's work together.
When the spear stabbed, his right hand was covered.
He was only able to move, but his left hand was also...
Then that rules out his left hand.
No,
Sehr
that's
gut.
wrong. Hold on. It's still too early to dismiss the possibility that he used his left hand.
Why? I mean, his left hand was tied up, you know?
But there was something off about his left hand. The bloodstain on the palm of his hand. Don't you think it looked somewhat strange? He only had blood on the lower area of his palm. Beyond that point, the bloodstain suddenly cuts off, right?
When the blood splattered, that's as far as it reached, right?
That settles the description of that bloodstain, but it's not the only unnatural bloodstain. Look, there's blood on the back of his hand, around the middle joints of his fingers.
Like you said, it looks like an unnatural bloodstain, but what's wrong with that?
We might need to think and use our imaginations for a bit. If there's blood on his palm and the back of his hand, what was his left hand doing as the blood splattered?
What's Nagito's left hand doing? Gripping.
I see!
When the blood
Aber was für
splattered,
Grippen?
he was probably gripping with his left hand.
Deswegen ist kein Blut drauf gekommen.
That's why there's such a strange looking bloodstain on his palm and the back of his hand.
Was he grabbing his front tail?
Perish the thought! He was obviously grabbing the spear!
Now that you mention it, compared to the rest of his body, the wounds on his left arm are pretty mild. He probably made his wounds mild on purpose, so he could keep his strength while he gripped the spear.
But even if he held the spear with his tied-up left hand, it'd be impossible for him to stab himself.
That's right, that's
Hey,
the problem.
Chiaki, what do you think? Hey, don't tell me you're getting sleepy.
At times like this, you should always strike from a good angle. Just like fixing an old TV.
Oh, I got it. Maybe.
Huh? Really?
Yeah, like I thought. It's no mistake that Nagito was gripping the spear, I think. However, what's important is what section of the spear he was gripping.
Cord?
I see!
Okay, sehr gut.
That's it.
Ja, deswegen war es
Instead
der
of the
Blutige
handle, Nagito must have been holding on to the cord. There was a metal weight at the tip of the cord, but there were bloodstains on that part too. Plus, the joint between the weight and the cord had a bloodstain shaped like it was cut off by something.
Isn't the size of that cut-off section about the same size as a human fist?
Ah, you're right. So this is the part Nagito was gripping,
Okay, ich
huh?
hab falsch gedacht.
And then the blood that was supposed to end up here ended up getting on Nagito's left hand.
But why is it so important to know which part of the spear he was gripping?
You're not gonna say he gripped the tip of the cord, swung the spear around, and stabbed himself, right?
That is where the clue to solve this mystery resides. Right, Chiaki? I am sorry. Of course this mystery will not be solved that easily.
Nagito was gripping the cord extending from the butt of the spear with his left hand. But from there, how would he stab himself in the stomach with a spear?
It seems we are stuck. Shall we have tea time?
At a
Yes?
time like this, how about we stick to the plan to think one step at a time instead of expecting the answers all at once?
That's a long plan name.
One step at a time. What does that mean?
Let's focus on the spear first. Namely, where it was and how it was positioned just before it impaled Nagito.
How it was positioned.
Nagito was facing up and the spear was stabbed through his stomach. So if it's just before that... That's it, could it be? Instead of the spear in the face that Nagito is holding the tip of the cord attachment. State of Despair. Kommt jetzt wieder Hangman's Gamble oder was? Ah, super, da freue ich mich schon drauf. If I put those together and think about it, I should be able to figure it out. Where the spear was and what state it was in before it stabbed Nagito. Ach nee, es kommt Logic Dive, oh Gott. Ich weiß nicht, was ich davon schlimmer finden soll. Ach komm, ey, das ist doch so unfair, ehrlich. Nagito's left hand, oder? Haben wir doch jetzt gerade geklärt. Ja, okay. Was? Nein, das war falsch. Ich habe nicht richtig nachgedacht. Ja, aber auf Nagito. Ah, ich habe falsch gedacht. Was ist das? Ey. Ach komm, das ist doch echt eine Scheiße. Nein, geh weg. Oh, hau doch ab, ey. Ja, ach komm. Ceiling girder. Ja, da war auch dieser Blutfleck dran, ne? And then the cord or the rope. Cord? Oder rope of Nagito's left hand? Ich habe keine Ahnung. Okay, es war richtig. Ey. Alter.
It's all coming together.
Die Serienteile waren echt scheiße.
The spear impaled Nagito as he was laying face up. It must have been perpendicular to him just before that.
Perpendicular? In the middle of the air?
If Nagito did that all by himself, did he have some sort of ESP?
That'd be awesome, but he probably used the ceiling girder directly above him.
Nagito probably slung the cord over the ceiling girder, and using that as a support. He hoisted the spear directly above him. And if Nagito let go of the cord, the spear would have fallen and impaled him while he was laying face up.
I noticed a slight red streak on the ceiling girder.
Ja, eben.
It probably got smeared there during the setup.
Blood on the cord probably rubbed off on the ceiling girder as the spear was falling. So, how about it? Using this method, Nagito could have impaled himself with the spear.
Are you serious? He really committed suicide? Like that?
He probably chose that spear so he could commit suicide like that. If someone else did this, there's no reason they'd go to all this trouble just to kill someone with a spear.
I agree. When I was investigating this case, I kept thinking over and over how strange it was. Why did the killer use the knife and the spear so differently?
So you're saying he needed to use that spear to pull off his trick?
Then, this is for real? He really committed suicide? Every single wound on his body. That was all him?
Not just that, he did all that while he was gripping the spear? That spear should not have stabbed Nagito until the very end. Which means Nagito wounded himself while he was gripping that spear, right?
Did he put the duct tape on his mouth too?
He probably covered his own mouth so we wouldn't hear him screaming in pain.
Did he need to go that far? That's beyond crazy. Why would he do that to himself?
He was probably trying to get us to make a mistake. By committing a suicide that looked like a murder, he was trying to steer us toward the wrong answer. His goal was to get us all executed.
And that's why he stabbed himself over and over again?
Did he want us to die that bad?
That's messed up. That's seriously so messed up.
Yeah, that's our Nagito.
Jeez, now I'm starting to feel a little sympathetic towards him. How stupid of me. I completely underestimated his capacity for malice. A mind-boggling malice that threatens us after he's died. That's the form his malice took. I have forgotten all about it until now. If he was here now, he'd probably be sneering at me.
However, there is one thing I still do not understand. He said he would reveal the traitor, right? Whatever became of that?
He was probably planning to kill the traitor along with the rest of us.
So why did he not just do that in the first place? If he had no qualms with killing everyone, he did not have to cause a bomb scare to reveal the traitor.
I bet the bomb scare was part of the strategy behind this trick. He made us split up and search for a bomb so none of us would have an alibi. He created a scenario where any of us could have killed him.
He tried to make us doubt each other, and tried to hide the truth behind his suicide.
Did he cause a bomb scare for that reason alone?
He's a fucking bastard who killed himself for his delusions of grandeur. It's not that unthinkable.
You are right, I suppose.
Yeah, it appears we've come to a conclusion. That bastard Nagito committed suicide. It was all done by him so we'd be executed.
Ah, vielleicht doch nicht. Also vielleicht hat er das schon gemacht, aber vielleicht ist er deswegen nicht gestorben. Vielleicht war noch jemand beteiligt.
That should be okay, right? Right?
Zu einfach jetzt, vor allem die erste Hälfte.
What? You're not satisfied yet?
No, I agree that Nagito killed himself, but I feel like there's something that doesn't make sense. It's probably just my imagination.
Why? I mean, I sort of understand what she's talking about. I don't think it's a mistake to assume that Nagito committed suicide, but why do I feel so uneasy about it? Is it because you don't know who the traitor is, or...
So what are you gonna do? Is it okay to proceed with the voting time?
What do you think, Akane?
Well, there's no doubt Nagito's death was a suicide. Oh well, I guess my gut is wrong sometimes.
You are right. It is not as though we can draw any other conclusion.
Then it's okay to end it here, huh? That means we're done with this last class trial and we can leave this island, right? It's okay to reach such a happy ending, right?
Then it's okay? It's okay to say, you've decided on the killer? Understood. Then voting time.
No, hold on a sec.
Hold on. Why?
Sorry, just a little more. I want you guys to wait just a little more. I can't help but feel like there's still something we overlooked.
Like who the traitor is?
But the issue here is who killed Nagito, right? Even if we identify the traitor, the conclusion won't change.
That's true, but...
The mystery isn't just about who the traitor is. No matter how you look at it, Nagito's death is a suicide. But I'm a little worried, you know? I'm worried about starting the voting time while there's still a mystery.
Hey, what do you mean it's not about who the traitor is? What kind of mystery is left?
There's just one thing that doesn't make sense, and it relates to Nagito's death. Plus, it's something even Nagito couldn't influence. He couldn't even tamper with the evidence for it.
Something related to Nagito's death, and it's something that even he couldn't have messed with.
You're gonna keep going? Here I thought we were finally finished.
Something related to Nagito's death, a piece of evidence that even he couldn't have messed with. Oh, hilf mir. Oh, hilf mir. Da steht noch ein Monokuma-Pfeil eigentlich drin. Ja, das hätte er theoretisch nicht machen können. Also er hätte da theoretisch nichts dran machen können. Wir müssen da... Nagito... Also ich würde Monokuma-Pfeil sagen.
I see!
Oh Gott. Ja, weil daran hätte er nichts machen können.
Is it about the Monokuma file?
Daran hätte er nichts irgendwie fälschen können oder so.
Yeah, that's it.
Gut, Leute, wir sagen, machen wir im nächsten Part weiter bei Danganronpa 2. Goodbye, Despair und ciao.